Welcome to the City of Daly City, the Library Board of Trustees regular meeting for Tuesday, July 16th, 2024, here at City Hall at the Council of Chambers. And if you would like to watch our live telecast, you can go on youtube.com at dalycity.gov, or you can go to our city website, go to dalycity.org agendas. And last option you have is Comcast Channel 27. I call to order. Let's give a Pledge of Allegiance. What's right here? Sorry. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now we proceed to the election of officers. Okay. Okay. So for the election of officers, we are open to nominations. Does anyone have a nomination for president?
I would like to nominate Michelle Dorr for president.
Okay. Do I hear? Okay. What do I? Okay. Are there any other nominations besides Theodore Tronco?
Should I nominate myself?
Okay. We have another nomination, Rachel Goodman. Any other nominations for the office of president?
I move that nominations be closed.
Okay. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. No vote. Okay. So can I get a vote for Theodore Tronco? Do I have to go individually over them?
Well, we can raise our hands, right, to indicate.
Oh, we can hear. Okay. So how many? Okay, I'll just call them individually then. Okay. So Rachel Goodman. Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Vice President.
I'm sorry, what?
We're voting for Theodore Tronco.
Oh, I thought you called my name.
No, I just said Rachel Goodman. Yeah. I'm doing the roll call.
You'll come back up.
Oh, okay.
You're not.
Okay, okay, so, okay, okay, Dr. Lex? Aye.
I am voting for Mr. Tronco.
And Mr. Tronco?
Aye.
Okay. Do I have to vote too? Okay, aye, very deserving, okay. All right, so, so we have 3 votes for Theodore Tronco. Now, can I get votes for Rachel Goodman, Dr. Lex?
Well, I've already voted, so.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay,
It would just be me standing
okay,
unless
so,
Angela wants to vote for me.
okay, and
from
1 vote
afar.
for Rachel Goodman. So I officially name him. Okay, so I congratulate to the new president of the Daly City Library Board of Trustees, Theodore Tronco. Congratulations, Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, take your seat, ma'am.
Oh, all right.
Huh? All right. All right. My shoes.
I would like to open up nominations for vice president.
I'd like to nominate Rachel Goodman for vice president.
Second.
All those, is that correct? Oh, if there is any more nominations? I'd like to
None. None, yeah.
I would like to close nominations.
Move that nominations be closed.
Second.
Guess you can do a roll call.
Yeah.
I can read out the roll call.
Yes, please.
Okay. Trustee Pacheco,
Aye.
Yes.
Trustee Lex, okay. President Trunco,
Yes.
and then Trustee or Vice President Goodman.
Yes.
All right.
Rachel, we have a present for you.
Oh, moving up in the world. Thank you. Do you want this back or can we keep it? Oh,
Dr. Lex.
sorry. I'm hoarding everything.
Excuse me.
Now we can do a roll call.
And you said we do a roll call?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Trustee Pacheco,
Here?
Trustee Lex,
Present.
and Vice President Goodman,
Present.
and President Trunco.
Here.
And Trustee Lugarta has let the board know that she won't be able to make it tonight.
So the next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
I move that the agenda be approved as presented.
May I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, cool. I would like to go to the next item. May I get a motion for approval of the minutes from May 21st, 2024?
I move that the minutes be approved as presented.
Second.
Any opposed? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. So the next item is public comment.
There were no online comments.
All right, cool. And then the next item is presentations, report from Daly City Public Library Associates.
We're excited to have the president of that board.
Good evening, Monica DeVincenzi, President of DCPLA. Thanks for letting me come join you. Just a couple of announcements. We have received a planned giving donation of $10,368 from the Volkman Trust. Thank you to Tom Norris, former DCPLA Director, for suggesting us to this client. We will be tabling at the Daly City Recreation Resource Day at Ceremony Center on Saturday, August 3rd. Please stop by if you're in the area. And finally, we're well into planning for the third annual Art and Lit Fest, being held also at Ceremony Center on Saturday, November 2nd. Please save the date and send us any artists, artisan vendors, or potential sponsors to our website at dcpla.org to fill out the interest form, and we hope you can also attend. Thank you.
Nice to see you again.
Did anyone on the board have any questions or comments?
I didn't quite catch the amount of the donation that was facilitated by Mr. Norris. Could you just repeat that?
Sure. It's a planned giving donation of $10,368.
Wow, that's great.
Wow,
Thank you.
nice.
Awesome.
We're very excited.
Sure. Do we just move on to the next item? All right. I move that we move to the next item, director's report.
All right. So it's summer, and we are well underway with our annual summer learning program. I'll keep it brief because it's very much what people have grown used to and grown to love. So we started off and by we, I mean the youth services librarian, doing just a huge amount of outreach to the community. She visits all of the schools, so between May 13th and June 4th, she did 19 visits, gave away 3,100 books, so 3,100 books at the schools. She also has done outreach at all the community events, including Shine Family Day, the Children's Day celebration. I don't know if you were able to attend that Gellert Park. That was great. And the Colma Community Fair, which was just this last weekend. And she will also be attending the Recreations Resource Day, along with DCPLA, and National Night Out. So outreach is a big component of this program, because we want to let people know about it that don't already know about it. And then also related to the grant from the Lunch at the Library program that the state runs, she also did some visits to the schools, two schools in Daly City that are running Big Lift Inspiring Summers camps, or BLISS camps, and created library cards for those students. They did field trips to the Bayshore Library. They also received books, of course. So it was that's something that's been going on each year, and it's a great partnership. The other one of the other components to summer learning is the reading that the kids do, of course, and they do a reading log. Might just be very similar to what you did when you were young. It's a tradition. And so this year, these are our reading logs. It was new art that was designed by Jordan Rose Bumbler. And so actually what you're looking at is the front and the back of the one for the younger kids, and you can see they kind of color as they make progress through their learning goals for the summer. And then this one is for the older set. They're reading longer books, so the target is a much lower number of books, but obviously these are longer books. I think I really enjoyed the art this year. I mean, it's great every year, but it was particularly good this year, I thought. And then the next component is the activities that are scheduled, and it's an ambitious schedule. Staff develop programs enough to have, in addition to our regular story times and all that, 5 weekly special programs. Most of them are actually staff-led, hands-on activities, and then we also include some special events. So here you can see the staff-led programs. We had an enormous wall-busting turnout for slime at ceremony. That one's always popular. But we try and make it, a variety of types of programs to appeal to different kids, and make sure that it's something that's accessible to kids of different ages as well, because families come with siblings. And then, as I mentioned, we also incorporate into their special events and performances. So we contract with different people. This week at Westlake, they had the Insect Discovery Lab, and I heard people raving about that one. You wouldn't think it would be that exciting. It's bugs, but they did a really good job of introducing the students or the kids to these insects and letting them actually interact with them. And then just today, we had a magician over at John Daly. You can't go wrong with a magician. So you can go to our website and see they're going to be continuing on until around the time that school starts, culminating in a end of the summer party at Gellert Park. And nope, that's not it. And then finally, the last component of the summer learning program is the teen volunteers, which the teens help us, which is great, but it's also important for them to have that experience. It's kind of like a pre-employment practice experience for them, and it also engages them in the summer. And they always I understand that they enjoyed the magician just as much as the younger kids, and for some reason, I don't know why, we had exceptionally high interest in volunteering. There were 75 applicants this year, which is more than we can take. But due to their own commitments and vacations, we ended up with 35 active volunteers. But last year there were only 15, so it'll be interesting to see what happens next year. And then in addition to the volunteers, we have engaged, well, two actually, of the mentor or the teen interns from the Recreation Teen Internship Program. And this is actually a paid internship. And so they go through this is a more intensive thing. They go through the process of being interviewed and selected. And so there's one that's assigned to the Ceremony Library, and there's one that's splitting their time between John Daly and Bayshore. So it's we're mentoring, the staff are mentoring those teen interns and giving them that experience as well, and they're helping us out. So that's good. And so it's very similar to prior years. I will say, we have the upcoming project with the elevator at Ceremony, and we thought it would be started, and so we almost didn't schedule things at Ceremony, and I'm just glad that we ended up scheduling a full slate of programs because they've been incredibly popular, and the elevator is still in the works. So hopefully in the fall. So yeah, that was the summer program. It's being run by our youth services librarian Sarah Spence, and she has a little bit of hourly help this year, and again, tons of teens.
What do the volunteers do?
So they, some of them will come and kind of table in the libraries to help sign kids up for the summer program to, encourage that. And then they also attend all the programs. So if it's a performer, they're just going to help with setting up the furniture and all that, and welcoming the families. But for, making the slime, they get trained and they help with distributing all of the supplies and things like that, and then the cleanup.
And then I had one other question about the East Bay Vivarium that you said had a good turnout with the insects and all the kids going.
It was actually insect discovery lab.
Insect discovery. Okay.
East Bay Vivarium, I think, went out to Bayshore.
Oh, okay. Is that something that you'd consider doing like all the time? The reason I bring it up is I was at Merced Branch in the city, and they have this cool like terrarium or whatever it is with scorpions and spiders, and all the kids were like surrounded by it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I was totally horrified, but and then I was like, that was, I don't know who.
I was wondering how they.
Yeah, and I have no idea who keeps it up.
We do have it's not the same, but we have a saltwater aquarium.
Oh, well, that's cool.
At the Westlake Library,
Oh.
and it is it is a job to make sure the fish are happy and healthy. So it's a responsibility. It's a responsibility that everyone takes very seriously, and the kids do get a huge amount of joy out of it.
Yeah, where is it at the? Where is the aquarium at?
It's at our Westlake Library.
Oh, Westlake.
Yeah, it's near the entrance to the children's room. So if you walk past the service desk, it's on the right there.
Okay.
Yeah, we engage a service, and they come out regularly to clean the tank and care for the fish. And
Oh yeah.
it's a saltwater aquarium is
Well, that's high
more
maintenance.
intensive than freshwater. It's been there as far as I know before I started. I think when that library was first renovated in the late 90s.
Do you know about how many people or how many children participated in the Yoga for Kids?
I heard it was really good, but I actually don't have a number on that. You can only fit so many kids in there, but I had heard positive things from staff. I don't know the numbers. I can bring attendance numbers for all these at a later
But
meeting.
it seemed to be popular.
Oh yeah,
well-attended.
yeah.
Well, that's good enough.
Yeah.
And are there any opportunities for the youth volunteers to continue their volunteer activity into the school year if they were so inclined?
We have not this group, but we do work with a program with the Jefferson High School District. It's Workability, and so they have students in this program that are looking for job experience, and we had an excellent experience with them this last year, and I think they did work a little bit during the summer as well. They were doing actually more circulation type stuff, assisting us with collecting our paging list of holds, which is on Mondays is a big job, and so it was a perfect fit for us. they did a great job. And the staff person, that they come with a staff person who mentors them and assists them. And we've worked with her before. She's amazing.
So does that relationship preclude any opportunity for summer volunteers to continue if they really liked, Ceremony Library, for example?
So, well, the workability students come during their school day, but the other students would only be able to come after school. And we do pay our pages, which would be the work that they would probably be doing. And actually, some of them are high school students. In fact, it was the last day of one of our pages today. She graduated and is going to college. So they do get actual job experience working for us that way. But we don't. I don't think we have really the right amount of the kinds of work that would work with their schedule.
Okay, thanks.
But it's definitely. I mean, some libraries do make that work, so it's something we can be open to.
One final question. I know the summer reading program is aimed for kids. Do you have something comparable for adults?
We do not have an adult summer reading program this year, although it's always it's always reading for adults.
Yes, always encouraged.
We've done the bingos in the past. It's not a huge amount of participation, but I know the people who do participate enjoy it.
I had a question. When we reach out for this, or when we display in the public, do we also reach out directly to the school districts?
So they received visits from the children's librarian at the towards the end of the school year. She went to all of the schools. I assume she probably did do these handouts, and we also put it up with a sign with a QR code, so you can go directly to our online calendar. I don't know that it made it into. We always try and make it into like the end of summer, the principals or superintendent's final email update to parents, but I don't know that we made it in this year.
All right, that's it. Did anyone else have any more questions or comments?
None.
All right. Maybe move on to the next item.
What's the next item? Progress has been made. The opioid overdose prevention effort that I know was initiated here. The policy that I sent out earlier today, the draft policy, has been reviewed just to make sure that there's no concerns in terms of human resources or anything like that. It's heavily based on the work of other fantastic libraries. So I wanted to, since I said it was initiated here, I just wanted to give you guys the opportunity to provide any feedback that you might have on it, and if you're so inclined to endorse it. It's more of it's almost like a procedure or yeah. Did anyone see anything that they were concerned about or that they felt was missing?
I endorse it. I think it's a great plan. What I like about it, it goes in detail in how to proceed whenever we encounter these kinds of situations. Just like if a patient were to or the patient were to come to or get very aggressive or just walks out. Yes, I really like the steps that are being taken. So I fully endorse it.
Yeah, the safety of staff and other visitors to the library is a big.
So Chayla, I'm sorry. So the question I have about that is, so it's going to be placed right next to the fire extinguishers and things like that? Or?
So we have an AED. That was something the city
Right.
manager, introduced. So we have one at each location, and it's specifically wall mounted to be like in a really central area. And I thought they found a central good area where there was blank wall.
Right.
Maybe this can go right next to that. That's my thought. I have not reached out to Public Works. They would have to do the math. But then it would be as you know, it's something that staff who have completed the training would be able to grab if in need, but also a member of the public could take the initiative if that's you know.
And the other question I have, Chayla, is that the training, how long is the training for the
It's-
staff usually?
I just read that. So I was glad to know that the city, through our human resources, we have a lot of mandatory training, and we use an online training system for implementing the training and then also like tracking. It include that company has one specifically for administering naloxone, and I think it was like 20 minutes.
Okay.
So it was relatively quick. It just goes over the most important components, and then if you have the staff who have completed it, then get a certificate showing
Okay.
them
That was my next question, if they were going to get a certificate for that.
they
Okay.
would.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, and Dr. Lex, you had mentioned about you know the absorption through the skin, and so you know. Along with the actual naloxone, we're going to make sure there's gloves in the box.
Well, I noticed that gloves are part of the, you know, the protocol, you know, what people should put on before, you know, administering naloxone to, you know, someone who needs it. But you know, I found, I won't call it contradictory evidence, but, you know, I shared some of the sites that said skin contact is not a hazard. And if that's the case, then, you know, I would like to see that reflected in the change, you know, in this draft policy. And if it's equivocal, maybe we could put the emphasis on putting on gloves rather than saying something that might alarm people and cause them to not want to be involved in the program. That was my thought.
I just want to add on to that. I guess like when I'm hearing that, it sounds like should we have like a frequently asked question?
Yeah, so there wasn't one included, then that could be part of the FAQ, certainly. I know that there was a lot of concern about absorbing the fentanyl through your skin when coming in contact with the actual substance. But I don't know what the definitive answer is.
One of the sites used the example of when you touch particles of sugar or salt for that matter, you know, it doesn't go directly into the body. There's a barrier, the skin barrier.
Yeah.
And the same thing is true, you know, for fentanyl, since it's a kind of crystalline substance. With the exception of if you have alcohol on your hands or something that would make, you know, the hands more absorbent to the material or liquefy it or, you know, create some change of state. But this makes it sound like, well, it makes it sort of scary.
And that's
And I don't think that, well, I don't know if that's justified. So that's, you know, I'd like to see that revisited.
okay.
Did anyone else have any more questions or comments?
Go
Could
ahead.
have been.
No, I don't. Go ahead, Dr. Lex.
Well, I had one other question. I noticed there's a lot of emphasis on library employees, in essence, volunteering to take the training and be an agent who, you know, could possibly administer naloxone in a case where it was needed. Do we do training for CPR, I mean, required training for CPR or the use of AEDs?
So that training is required, yes, but you are not required to administer or to give CPR or use the AED.
Okay.
It's I mean, and if you're mandating any kind of training, it becomes a, an issue with where the union has to be engaged in that process. And so this is, we were hesitant to take it in that direction.
Do you have any sense of how the staff feels, about this? Are we creating a policy that nobody's gonna wanna touch, or is it something that, a reasonable percentage of people in the various branches would say, yeah, this is important, I wanna do it? And if the case came up, I would wanna intervene and try and, bring somebody back, versus, not for me.
Oh, I think that, I mean, there definitely will be some people who will be uncomfortable with this and opt out, but I know that there would be people also who would want to be helpful in that situation, who would, it's, time is of the essence and they'd want to be able to save somebody.
Okay, well, okay. I think you've answered my questions. Thank you, Chair.
My question would be, would there be a chance where there would be training for the public?
So I believe that the San Mateo County Libraries did provide that. And I believe they went through San Mateo County Health Department. So I don't know if that department would be interested in partnering with us, but we can certainly find out. I know that there is a lot of interest because there's been people, especially maybe more in San Francisco, but where you do encounter people who are overdosing. So I can reach out to them and see.
Thank you.
Do you have to have training to administer this?
So from
I know there is the Good Samaritan law, but like if you were in a library and nobody was acting on something, I'm thinking more so as in San Francisco out of curiosity, like can a regular passerby administer it? I've read how it's used and
yeah, I mean the videos online
exactly.
make it seem fairly straightforward and easy. My understanding, and I'm not an attorney, but my understanding was that the training was required so that you would be covered by that Good Samaritan, or by that law.
So you're not covered by Good Samaritan law if you.
I can't speak to that, but I understand that the two were related.
I think it's actually a good point, Rachel. I would hate to see a situation where equipment to save a life is available in a library, but not, let's just say the staff that was working that day was not inclined
Right.
to intervene, but a patron would say, well, do you have naloxone?
Yeah.
And somebody would say, yes, and they would say, well, let me have it, so I can try and,
Yeah, because
bring the
if we're
person
waiting
back.
for 911, I mean, my thought would be probably not so much here, but I use libraries wherever, whenever. Like in San Francisco, it's much more realistic that it could happen. That I'm not saying librarians and staff in San Francisco haven't been trained. I feel like they'd probably be more
They were trained, yes.
willing to do this, but like you said, if nobody's stepping forward and you can tell somebody's probably overdosing on whether heroin, fentanyl, whatever drug, I mean, this stuff isn't going to kill you anyways by using it, but as a Good Samaritan, you would think that you might want to help. I just don't know what the law says. I mean, I could easily research it, but I was just curious.
So are you referring to a member of the public then?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we would put it out in the public so that they could use it. I don't think anyone would be
Yeah,
asking,
I don't
have you
think
been
so.
trained?
Yeah, and I don't think someone's going to come sue you for using it if you happen to not be overdosing. I would think at that point, if somebody's that far gone, there's other issues that would come up when 911 shows up anyway.
But that would be an individual choice of the member of the public, yeah.
Yeah, I have just a thought just came up. When I was reading the draft. So my understanding, Chayla, is if someone overdosed outside the library, like say in front of the door or in the parking lot, they can be helped, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now here's the other part. How about if they walk off grounds? You know, like down the street or just outside the barrier of the parking lot.
We don't really keep like boundaries like that.
Okay.
I mean, we may not know about it if it's,
Right.
away from the building, but it's not uncommon to have people come in and tell us about something that's happening in the parking lot or in another part of the, the overall physical plant, especially like someplace like Ceremony where it's it's a whole park.
Right. Yeah.
And so, it's, yeah, I mean, if somebody is like, somebody's overdosing and we need naloxone, then we,
Right.
that's,
You could just like ceremony. It's like on the side.
yeah.
Or just. Okay. Thank you. That's all the questions I have.
You know, I kind of see it like an AED.
Or a fire extinguisher.
You know,
Yeah.
if it's available and somebody knows how to use it and wants to do it to save a life, then, I would like us to support that.
Good point.
I'm fully in support of this.
I noticed that they sell these red metal cases that look, they're smaller, of course, but remarkably similar to the ones that the AEDs are in. So I think that's kind of the model that a lot of places are looking at.
So with these comments, could you take a look at how the proposed policy should be revised?
And bring it back.
Maybe at the next meeting?
Yes, I can do that.
Excuse me.
Thank you, everyone.
Let me just conclude by saying thank you very much for the work you put into this. It's, a great start. We're just finding, I'll call them individual points of interest or concern that perhaps haven't come up in other library systems, but I really appreciate your openness and the work you've done to get this to us tonight.
And the other libraries who came before us.
Thank you, everyone, for your input. If it's okay, may we go to the next item?
Yes.
So this was requested in agenda building at our last meeting. So mixed news. Our career pathways workforce development databases they were eliminated from the budget, so they're sunsetting. So this includes Coursera, EBSCO Learning Express, LinkedIn Learning, Northstar, and VetNow. We also had Get Set Up, which is specifically geared towards older adults, and Skillshare. Those ones already ended. The other ones are ending at the end of September. So they're still on our website, but we have a notation there to alert users. I will say, they did not get a tremendous amount of use. I know these companies kind of came to us, or to all the libraries, I'm sure, to see if they wanted to continue. The use was not there. They're neat resources, but to free up the budget to pay for them was just not realistic. BrainFuse Help Now is also, that's the homework help, and we're sad that one is also sunsetting. I did get a quote on that one. That one also did not get nearly the use that I would have expected. It's the BrainFuse Help Now. It's an amazing resource, but I think people seem to really like the idea that it's there for them, but then the actual follow through of using it, it just was pretty low usage, I would say. So unfortunate. Lunch at the library, I mentioned that earlier. We have our children's librarian applies for and has received a grant for a number of years in a row, not to do lunch, but to do programming at lunch sites. I just realized I left that. Sorry. And so that one was not eliminated, but it was cut back quite a bit. So we're just going to have to see next year if those grants are still available. And then as we had talked about when we did our advocacy, there was a 50% reduction to the California Library Services Act. This is something that doesn't affect us super directly, but is very much indirectly, because this is some funds that support library cooperative systems. And the way that this works, we're part of a consortium, and that consortium is part of a regional cooperative. And so that, there's a lot of resources in those partnerships that happen. And so we'll see how that, how the effects of that trickle down. And then state parks, I actually found this out in the news. That it was cut, and then it's been extended another year. So that's good news. So, yeah, it was a rough budget year at the state level.
Was Hoopla or Canopy affected?
So Canopy is just in our regular budget.
Okay.
And Hoopla is not in our regular budget. The cost for that is, yeah.
So does that mean it's cut from our budget and like that?
We actually don't have we have never had Hoopla.
Oh, we haven't.
No, the county has Hoopla. Well, the other libraries in PLS do have Hoopla.
Oh, okay. Lord knows which one I've signed up with.
Yes, you've signed up with one then.
More than one, but we won't say anything.
And the San Francisco Public Library has Hoopla.
Yeah,
You know, it's very easy to get a card.
LA does too.
Previous meetings.
Yes, and many people who live in San Francisco do get a card from us, so it's mutually
Yes.
beneficial.
They told me, don't worry about it. If you're here, you can get one anywhere in California.
We have parking. Anyway, that's where we are with that.
Did anyone have any questions or comments?
None.
I'm good.
I guess for me it was I guess like since like you mentioned, Shayla, like there's like certain budget cuts. I wanted to ask like what can we do in order to help like not like support in terms of like what is missing?
So these were, at the state level. So some of them were things that we directly participated in, and some, will have more indirect effects. I don't know that there's any way to backfill those things. We do, Daly City passed a budget shortly before the beginning of our fiscal year, which was July 1st. And so, it's not terribly, it's actually not really that different at all from previous years. So, we're continuing on. It's unfortunate to lose some of those databases and things like that, but as I mentioned, they weren't that heavily used. So I think we do benefit greatly from DCPLA and their local fundraising efforts. So I think that's probably mostly where we look. And then we also do apply for specific grants, but they tend to be very project based. So it's, you apply for a little bit of money to do a big job.
All right, thank you.
Do you know how much money was cut from California from the entire library budget?
I actually don't know.
I'll have to look it up. I'm kind of curious now how much I'm not sure I want to know.
It's a big budget, yeah.
Ooh. They wouldn't fully eliminate it, right? Like they wouldn't do a full cut to the libraries and just like say we've got no money for this.
Well, the vast majority of our library is funded by the city, so it's
So it would never be a
yeah. I mean, there's at every layer of government, there's some
there's-
library support,
yes,
like the
there's-
IMLS at the
Yeah.
federal level. But yeah, the things that are our bread and butter are personnel, which is the big one.
Yes.
Is, all something the city pays for.
May we move on to the next item?
So this one's kind of a standing item on the agenda, just sort of like a trustees report out on any events or anything that you've done in terms of like library outreach or just community outreach. I don't know if you had a busy June.
I've heard that the repair work on the roof at the Westlake branch is proceeding.
I've heard that too.
Progress.
I heard that.
So the staff there seem happier with what's happened recently than, having to collect rainwater and plastic sheets and buckets.
and hand-me-down delivery bins from PLS.
Right, right. Anyway, that's great.
And I do think our project at Ceremony is going to move forward. It's just taking longer than expected.
No community events I attended.
May we move on to the next one?
So announcements, I did have, let's see, just a couple of upcoming non-summer learning programs. This one is in August. It's 2 sessions, and I know the librarian who's working on this is working on getting staff who are fluent in other languages to be on hand. So immigration and naturalization workshop with the opportunity for one-on-one consultation. So if somebody's struggling with the not always user-friendly immigration process, this is available to them. So this is going to be at our John Daly Library. And is a partnership with API Legal Outreach. And then another partnership, this one is going to be at the Westlake Library. And so we have a banking expert who is going to go over how to identify potential fraud and scam. So that's something that is just pernicious. And so this one scheduled midday. I think might be geared towards older adults, but certainly everyone would be welcome. And then finally from Trustee Logarta, she is arranging the backpack drive again. It was incredibly successful last year. So this is going to take place again at Classic Bowling. It's going to be July 21st from 12 to 3. There will be bowling as well as backpacks. And as I said, last year, it was a huge number of brand new backpacks were donated, and we were able to work with the Bayshore School to get those to kids and families that needed them. So that was fantastic. And then, not something I have a slide for, but just a couple of little tidbits. We're working on launching a new app that I think hopefully will be an improvement. So we're pretty excited about that. And we will also be getting a new service provider for our wireless printing. So it's not the most exciting thing, but it's something that should make it a lot more functional, because what's happening now with our current service provider is people sending the larger files. Sometimes there's just a big delay, and most of the people who do wireless printing are in the library, so they want their printing right away, and they come to the desk to get assistance in paying for and releasing their print job, and if it's not there for a good 5 minutes, it really affects the experience for everyone. So the new service should be very similar to the old one, except for it will work better. And then also, if you do use the web app, you'll have the option to specify the number or specific pages of your job, which is something you can't do now, and also be able to do reprinting of it. So it's we're more like a paperless society, but not really. People do still need to print, and so and a lot of times, infrequently enough, that they don't have any. They don't have a printer at home, so we still provide that service, and it's used really regularly. So I think it'll be nice to have something that's a little more robust.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. I think that's the end of this month.
Shayla, do you have more details on the INS workshop? More so, is the workshop intended to help people coming in filling out the forms, or is it just for them to ask questions? I asked because I volunteered once upon a time in South City at an INS workshop, and I did a one-day training, or maybe it was 2 days, over in San Mateo.
Oh,
And it was the most, heartbreaking, fascinating thing all at once. But filling out those forms, living here is a nightmare that I can't imagine doing it from a foreign country. But I'm just wondering if you have more details on the workshop, or if I should contact the people who are working on it.
yeah, you can contact the staff at John Daly to get more details. But yes, it includes that one-on-one component to help people with their specific need.
Do you know if they're going to be looking for volunteers, or is that being done through, with that API?
Yeah, API Legal Outreach. I don't know that they're looking, but it's possible directly with
It's
that
called API
organization.
Legal Outreach? Was that who they were?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can
Oh.
see their.
I'll reach out to them because it's going to be the legal people that are doing that part.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
I had a question about the back-to-school backpacks. Have we ever recognized the bowling center for what they've been doing over years, or have we ever recommended to the city council that they be given a special certificate of commendation for their community service and the number of children that have been served? Yeah, it seems to me when we have great community citizens, we should highlight them and recognize them and congratulate them and thank them.
It was pretty heavily featured on social media. But there were a lot of photos taken, and then they all came to last year anyway. They all came to ceremony to present them, and David Canepa was their supervisor. Canepa was able to join us, so there was that kind of recognition, but not. And I believe Mayor Manalo also was present for that, but it was not like a formal commendation.
I was thinking of something they could put on their wall,
Oh, I see what you. Yeah.
you know?
I can reach out to Trustee Logarta and ask her because it's through her employer, so I don't. Yeah, see if they have something that goes with their program.
So it's B of A that's working with the bowling center.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
I like to just say about the scams, that program. I think that's a great program, especially what is going on today. Me personally, I get 6 of them a day, and it's annoying, you know.
And they
And
get sophisticated.
yeah, they are, and now they're sending you texts, and but it's great, you know. Not leaving an age group out, but it's going to be very handful for the elderly because they are the ones that get targeted very easily. You know, I mean, I get these voicemails that are just outrageous, but you know, it's a good way to at least alert the community of what's going on nowadays. And like you said, Chayla, it's getting more and more sophisticated, and the more we know, the better we can combat this.
Yeah, definitely. This is we've done this before, but this is a new partner, so we're excited about it.
Right. Good job.
Any more questions or comments?
None at this time, Mr. President.
Hey,
I just wanted to thank past President Jaco for his service this past year as president of the Board of Trustees. I think it was kind of a new role for you.
Yes, it was.
And one that you really grew in. You managed the meetings very well, in my opinion. You know, we were sort of on time. We went through the agenda efficiently.
Well, thank you.
We finished, you know, not like the city council late at night, but
Into the
early
wee
enough to get
hours.
home.
You see, I learned that from the Planning Commission.
Well, anyway,
Yeah.
Gary, thank you very much for your
Oh,
service.
no, thank you, Dr.
Glad
Lex.
you're,
Yeah.
you know, on the board.
Thank you, Dr. Lex. I appreciate that too, and I'd like to also thank the rest of the trustees for, you know, supporting me in that role. And it's always good to have change. And having a new President Tronco, I know you're going to do a fantastic job. You will.
thank you. Appreciate everyone.
All right.
You know, it's my first experience like being on a board and also in this position, so you know, learning this as much as I can, especially with everyone's help.
Well, it's definitely, I think, it's a special group because, you know, it's very supportive and collegial.
Yeah.
And I would say you're off to a great start.
Yeah, you are doing great.
Appreciate it. If there are no more announcements and communications, may we move on to the next item for agenda building for the next meeting?
So I will take a look at the Narcan policy and see about the comments that were made by the board, how we can incorporate them.
How about maybe more details on the budget,
Um,
on what was cut and How,
From the state?
yeah, from the
or-
state, yeah.
I think it's all done, but.
It's
yeah,
all done? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I, did I do I did a budget presentation before our budget was passed, I believe.
Maybe along those lines, you could let us know if there are going to be any direct impacts, especially in terms of reduction of services in PLS, you know, which we're a part of and which serves, you know, every library patron.
Yeah, they're not a state item, but there was some funding that we received through Measure K previously that we're not going to be getting in the future, and that's probably going to be the biggest impact. That was the funding that we received for summer learning. In fact, yeah. And it's a lot that we wouldn't be able to backfill. I have not had a chance to, because we're really in the midst of the program. But at the end of the summer, we're going to have to sit down and really strategize how to reform the program in such a way that people aren't missing things. But we will not be able to do the same amount of book distributions that we're doing now. That's for sure. But the program funding and all that comes from our own budgets. So we'll still have a great program, but it will look a little different.
Okay.
I guess for me, it doesn't have to be for the next meeting, but just something I guess like in the future. I guess like in one of my walks, I actually visited that new South City library, and like I remember seeing like on their their digital bulletin board, they had like something in regards to like Spotify, where I guess they had like local people, like whether it's like people in city council or just like in the government, like almost like podcast style. And there's like a few episodes. So I was wondering like if that could be like a potential for like Daly City to do something similar in its own. And then
I haven't seen that. That facility is also it's city council chambers and also rec facilities. So it may not be related to the library, but I can try and find out.
thank you. And then another thing I wanted to like look into is this one thing I saw online was called it's like from a nonprofit. So they do like usually summer camps or like just camps during when it's like school breaks. So it's called Hip Hop Architecture, and basically it's this person named Michael Ford, and he does stuff like in regards to architecture and urban planning, and in a way where it focuses on the youth in terms of I guess like understanding their environment and like how does that play a role in terms of their everyday lives and like being critical of it too. I just want to know if there's a way, if we can look into that, if that could be like a potential like thing in the future.
So it's like a workshop for young people on like architecture and how that like kind of structures their environment that they're living in. Is that?
Yeah, like city planning. And they're able to like critique it, like provide solutions. And I also believe like they utilize the arts like rapping and hip hop in terms of talking about their experience and just like the built environment.
I'll see if I can track it down online and find out.
I'll share you some of the information that I've seen.
Okay.
Thank you. Did anyone else have anything?
Nothing.
Just an FYI, that the South City podcast, that's done by the city. My friend works on it. John helps with that. It's like it's not really the library, but it's like board members from the city, just as a FYI.
Just following up on our last meeting, was there any discussion with DCPLA about the thought of reaching out to the public and asking for their input in terms of ways to improve the library, not necessarily following, the suggestion that was made, but in that general vein? So
I emailed with Victoria about that. She loves the idea, and so they actually have their board meeting this coming Thursday, and she asked me to bring it to that group. So.
Oh, super. Okay. Can we put that on for next feedback on that meeting? Thank you.
Do you know where their board meeting is and what time? Is that here?
No,
Daly?
because they're a nonprofit.
Yeah, that's
they
what I
actually
thought.
meet at Colma Town Hall.
Oh, Colma Town Hall?
Yeah.
Is it open to the public, I'm assuming?
I actually don't know, but I can find out.
I can easily email
Yeah, you
her
can
or
email
Clayton.
Victoria and ask her.
You can reach out to the president.
Oh, yeah. And do you know what time it is?
It's from 6 to 7 as well.
Okay.
There are no more further comments or questions. May we move on to adjourning the meeting?
7
I
on
move
the
that we adjourn.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
well.